Today we have a very interesting question about solmization. Welcome to this new video. I am Riccardo, Musicus Practicus, and today I want to answer one of you about solmization. So, Theophil, a new Musicus Practicus studying solmization and Partimento with the Partimento method, asks, "Hello, I have a question about an exercise. Number 8 of stage 7. We are in bass clef, so the exercise starts with an F. We go on an ascending scale, so I doubt that we could say ut re mi fa, but Riccardo's with 2C starts with a fa. The explanation is that it is not a note because we are on the natural hexachord. I don't understand it. How can we know that we are in the natural, in the soft, or in the hard hexachord, since hexachords are relative and not linked to absolute pitches? Moreover, I don't understand the difference between hard, soft, and natural hexachord. I know that the natural has a C ut, and the soft has F ut, and the hard has G ut, but what does it change if they are all made of the same structure, tone, tone, semitone, tone, and tone? Very interesting question, because the main point of this question is that we have a modern point of view which is totally different from the point of view of the Renaissance musician. Now, the answer of this question is very big and very wide, but let's go step by step. First of all, this is fa sol re mi fa and not ut re mi fa sol, because we don't have the flat. So the semitone is in this point between B and C. Fa sol re mi fa. And then another reason is that when we don't have any flat in the key, we use the hexachords, natural hexachords and hard hexachords. There is not the possibility, at least in the 99% of cases, to use the soft hexachords. Of course, there are some exceptions, but in this case, I want to make clear that we have a kind of species of the apente, which is the fifth, called fa sol re mi fa. Now, if I ask to a modern musician to sing a fifth, any kind of fifth will be the same. I'm talking about the perfect fifth. But that's not the same for the ancient musician. Now, I'll reveal you one thing about cantus firmus. This will be the course about cantus firmus. I'm working on that. Quintus tonus, authenticus, called lidio, is made up of the third species of the diapente, because the diapente, the fifth, can have 4 different species according to the position of the semitone. The first species is re mi fa sol la. The second species is mi fa sol re mi. The third species is fa sol re mi fa. The semitone is there. And the fourth species is ut re mi fa sol, ut re mi fa sol. So there's a very big difference, because fa sol re mi fa, it's typical of the fifth tone in cantus firmus, and we cannot change the things. It's a big problem if we change things, because we are changing the mode. So these exercises are out of a modal context. These are exercises made to stress you on understanding and singing the right syllable. So in this case, we won't use the soft hexachord, because when we have anything in the key, we'll have, where is that? We'll have only, nope. We are in stage 6, only the natural and the hard hexachord. I know that this may seem strange, but this is the way of thinking of the ancient musician. These letters are the letters of the hand. The hand is a transposition of the great scale, what you can learn in stage number 3 here. This is the grayscale. We have these letters, these positions. This is the Latin system coming from the Greek system. This is the basic, the basic point, the chessboard of the musician of the 16th, 18th, and later up to the 19th century, learning this kind of music. And when I say 19th century, I mean that they continued to sing cantus firmus following these rules. This book is the end of the 17th century, but there are other books at the end of the 18th century explaining the same things. So since we have this chessboard where we can move, we can have only 3 hexachords, on G, on C, and on F. About the origin of these hexachords is another matter, but it's not important now to understand why, but how they work and how an ancient musicians used to think. Now let's go to the other point. In stage 10 you learn how, when you have the nature of the chant, which is flat, soft, with the flat in the key, you'll use the natural and the soft hexachord. You won't use anymore the hard hexachord. Now, to go more in depth, we will have more hexachords. We have other hexachords called proprietà di B duro giacente. For example, starting on D. And it's called giacente because you can't see it. Giacente means hidden. So on D, for example, we have an affitto, a false hexachord starting on U, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, and we can use this in other contexts, but this is not the context to use these other hexachords. I'll explain better about that in the Cantus Firmus course, because they are about Cantus Firmus specifically. Now, what's the next point? We have the other part of the question, so which is about the fifth. Okay, now the fifth is very important. How to identify a fifth mode? Simple. A fifth mode can be identified by these pieces of diapente, Fa, Sol, Re, Mi, Fa. Let's take an example. Here we have this, which is an introitus of a mass. The melody says Fa, Fa, La, La, Sol, La, La, Fa, Re, Fa, Fa, Re, Fa. We can identify the fifth mode thanks to Fa, Re, Fa, Fa, Sol, La, Sol, Fa. So it's very important, this Fa, Re, Fa, Fa, Sol, Re, Mi, Fa. And also the intonation of the psalm of the fifth mode is Fa, Re, Fa, 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 Sol, Fa, 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 Sol, Mi, Fa, Re. It's very important. If we change it, we change the mode. The finalis, the ending note of this tonus, the fifth tone, is on F, F Fa ut. But we also have the irregular tone, the irregular fifth tone, where the finalis is on C, a fifth above. Now, I don't want to talk about this thing because you need more knowledge about that. But let's take another example, because one could say that this Alleluia is an irregular fifth tone. But if we check the diapente starting on C, ut, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Sol, Re, Sol, Fa, Mi, Re, ut, Sol, Re, Mi, Fa, Mi, La, Sol, Fa, Re, Mi, Re, ut. This diapente, ut, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, is different from Fa, Sol, Re, Mi, Fa. So in this case, and especially thanks to this flat, which create the diatessaron, so the fourth Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, we have not an irregular fifth tone, but the tonus is the seventh because of the diapente ut re mi fa sol, and the diatessaron re mi fa sol. The fourth species of the diapente plus the fourth species of diapente plus the first species of diatessaron creates the seventh mode, seventh tone, tonus, septimus tonus. So there's a big difference in the ancient way of thinking between fa sol re mi fa and ut re mi fa sol. Now there's another thing. These are the three hexachords of the ordinary hand you can find on the ordinary hand. If you transpose the ordinary hand, you can transpose all the hexachords. The point is the relationship between these 3 points, which are the clefs. So what is important, because you are right when you say, but what doesn't change if they are all made of the same structure, is the relationship between C, F, and G, because the hexachord on C doesn't have the B. The hexachord on C, the natural one, doesn't have the B. The hexachord on G has the B durus, B durus. The hexachord on F has the B mollis. Here is the difference. I know that from a modern point of view you can transpose anything and doesn't seem so important. But for an ancient musician who used to think or with any flat in the key, nothing, any flat in the key, or with one flat in the key, so cantus, bedurus and bemollis, this is a big difference. Why? Because this application, the application of solmization, is especially in cantus firmus, so in the Gregorian chant of the Middle Ages, Renaissance, and Baroque and Classical period. Now, this way of thinking, it's very different, I know. But when you start understanding it, you will see that you take a chant of written in that period, and you make clear all the species, all the diapentes, all the diatessaron's, and then you can identify the mode, you can identify the tone, and then you can write a piece according to the tone, to the mode. When we want to transpose this into tonal music, yes, we have one hexachord on the first degree of C major, for example, first degree C, ut re mi fa sol, and another one on the fifth degree G, ut re mi fa sol la, ut re mi fa sol la, ut re mi fa sol la. So here we have another way of thinking, similar but with more possible transpositions. So the difference is the relationship between C, G, and F, and the fact that here you can sing with B hard, here you can sing with B mollis, B durum, B mollis. This is the difference, and in the natural hexachord you won't have any problem about B. So you don't have the problem, because when you arrive here, la, fa, la, you have to choose if you put the B flat for the fa super la, or if to change into the hard hexachord with ut re mi fa sol re mi fa la re mi fa. This is not a simple answer because it's not a simple question. So the best question is practice. Practice and things will become clear, practice after practice, exercise after exercise. You started studying solmization no more than 2 weeks ago, so it's not a lot of time. Practice, practice, and you'll see things getting clearer step by step. Fa, re, fa, mi, fa, la, fa. Wait, what's going on? What are all these strange notes? Look at this. This is how they read notes during the Renaissance and the Baroque period. This is a book of the beginning of the 17th century. Now, tell me, how can you understand and play Renaissance and Baroque music correctly if your way of reading is completely different from what they used? Even worse, how can you compose new music in a stylistically accurate way if you start from a mindset which is diametrically opposed to what all ancient musicians used? Well, You can't, they are two different languages. Imagine instead the freedom of reading correctly every note. Imagine the confidence to know that that passage you wrote works because stylistically correct to the ancient way of thinking music. Think how wonderful it would be to notice all those details and nuances that other musicians miss, simply because they don't know hexachordal solmization. Hexachordal solmization is the system used by musicians of the Renaissance and Baroque periods to read music. It is a system built on a great scale of 20 letters and a hexachord of 6 syllables. Ut, re, mi, fa, sol, la. If you love Renaissance and Baroque music, you should know more about that. For this reason, I've prepared for you an ebook where you can discover some details that you can only notice if you know solmization. Get this special gift now. Go to this link, scroll down the page up to the middle and download the free ebook.